Bhole Baba Ki Jai. We're here in Rieferath, Germany, at the Bhole Baba Ashram, and I'm Raluti in this Prema.
Yes.
And I'm asking her some questions. She lived at Chilianola Ashram, Babaji's ashram, for many years, and I'm curious about how she heard about Babaji first. And so go ahead, please.
Yeah, so my name is Prema, as you said, and I'm at the moment living in Germany near Frankfurt, basically with my mom to take care of her. So I met Babaji first in 1984, when a friend of mine gave a picture of him. And I had no idea who it was. I didn't hear anything about Herakan. I didn't know about Babaji. But he gave me this picture, and my first thought was, oh, finally he's back. And I was so happy, still not knowing who it was. So I was a little puzzled, of course, because I had no idea about anything, what was going on. So slowly after that experience, which really touched me deeply, I found slowly a little bit out what about Herakan, about Babaji. And also only weeks later, I noticed that I was living with a few people at that time in a house, that they were listening to the Herakan bhajans all the time. So I didn't know that before. What kind of music was that? So yeah, this is how it began for me. So it took me still a few years to get to Herakan, but it was such a desire to go to Herakan, of course, at one point. So it took me still a few years, and I had a little gap between two jobs. And I was, oh, should I go, should I not go? It was monsoon time, it was very hot in India at that time. And actually my mom, she said to me, you always wanted to go, now you go. So yeah. So a few days later, I was in a plane, not even knowing where what's going on. I didn't know where to stay in Delhi, so it was a kind of a little challenge. But so I came to Herakan a few years after this experience with first meeting Babaji. And what I immediately loved about Herakan was life is so simple. It's so basic and simple. And I felt like, I don't know how to really put it in the right words, but this soul that we have, or whatever that is, it has such a place there to be. We are, in the world, we are so, I don't know, so busy with so many things, and all of a sudden there was a place where this could be and had a home. I will put it like this. I think it was this, yeah, it finally had a home. So I only stayed for a few weeks in Herakan and in Chilanola, Anandpuri Ashram that time. And of course I fell in love with everything, and it was just, I felt actually also at my first visit to Herakan, I was feeling anything can happen in life now, everything is okay. I will leave this planet or not, everything is it was fulfilled, even though of course I would love to meet Babaji in form. So yeah, and then I was actually going back to Germany, going back to India. For many years it was going on like this. I spent longer periods of time in Herakan mostly. So, and at one point I went to Navratris in Herakan, and I didn't have any big plan. I wanted to come back after Navratri, so, and I postponed my flight back to Germany. I postponed. And then Muniraji said to me, you stay. So I went to Germany, and within 3 weeks, I packed everything. I finished everything up that I had to clean up in Germany. So in these 3 weeks, really everything I did. And I came back to India, to Anandpuri Ashram in Chilanola. And it was really funny because it went all so fast. And when I was sitting in the temple in front of Babaji in Chilanola, in the temple, I thought, what has happened here? How did I get here now? So it was so overwhelming, and still I had no idea how long it's going to be. I really didn't know. So I stayed 7 years actually.
You stayed how many years?
7 years.
7 years.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you have to go back and forth for visa and things like that?
Actually, I went once a year to visit my family,
Okay.
but I was lucky to always get these 5 years visas.
Uh-huh.
So there was not a problem really that time to just stay. We had to register, but it was not a big deal.
So what kept you so long at the ashram in Chilianella? I mean, ashram life is not so easy. I know Chilianella is very cold in the winter.
Yeah, I don't know. I so fell in love with everything. And I think I mentioned this yesterday. Chilanola for me was not so easy to discover the beauty of the place. I loved it, but it was not like Harakan is like amazing. So it took me a little time, but I found this is as much as a paradise as a Harakan is. In a different way, maybe, for me. So I really don't know why I stayed so long. Actually, one astrologer told me that that's going to happen. And I thought, no, that's not going to happen.
Ahead of time, they told you it was
Yes, ahead of time. And I was thinking, no, yeah, okay, just talk. Yeah, but it happened, and I don't know, but I stayed, and I was, I feel really, really blessed because I stayed also with Muniraji in his house for longer periods of time, and that was just, yeah, it was just like being in a paradise. And it's tough in that ashram, of course, as it is in the world. We have very difficult times, but it really put me so much on my feet. I was very shy. I didn't want to talk much, as many of us maybe are, and so I learned so many things. It's beautiful, and especially for Muniraji, it's also difficult to put in words, of course. But since he is not a person of many words, first when I stayed in his house, I had no clue how was his schedule, how was his habits. I had no clue, and no one would tell also. So I was asking all the time. I was going, oh, do you need something? Can I do something? And at one point I noticed that, and for me that was kind of mind-blowing, he had a time for each and everything. I have never seen this kind of structure, being living in such a structure. So he had his time for tea, he had his time for water, or in the summers a little cucumber in between, something little to eat. So he had this every day going on. And so you didn't have to ask him, do you need anything? If out of this schedule he wanted something, he would ask. So I discovered this after some time, and it was so amazing for me to see this. And I also noticed that since he is not talking too much.
He said what?
Since he's not talking too much, he's not giving like lectures or telling big things. So I noticed it was very, very important to just observe and to trust your inner, whatever, how you're going to call it.
This inner guidance or
voice. Inner voice, inner guidance, this feeling that you have. So I slowly learned that, and it worked so well. For example, I was sitting every day at the Havan, and at one point just a thought came. It's very simple. A thought came, just check what they're doing. Check a little properly when they're giving like the flowers, what time they're giving this apple or whatever. So I just started observing. I just started observing. And there was the day when Muniraji said, now you do.
You be the helper.
You be there and give me these things on the Havan. And I was so happy that I observed before, because no one would tell. So I was a little bit prepared. And so this is a beauty with Muniraji for me, that to just get still, observe, and trust yourself.
Yeah, trust this.
Yeah.
Like you said, that thought came to you during the fire of, observe, see what they're putting on this food. And then in no time, you're doing it yourself. Yeah, and it's simple. It's very simple. And being with Muniraji, I found he's the most practical person on the planet. I mean, everything is just so practical, and I love that. It's simple and practical, and you have a thought and you just do it. So yeah. You shared the experience of seeing the picture of Babaji. Yeah. And saying, "Oh, you're back," you know, happy
Yeah.
that she was back. Do you have another experience with Babaji that you can share?
Yeah. Oh, actually, there are many. Maybe one beautiful thing that just comes to my mind was that I had this really, really deep desire. I wanted to do one time this arti to him. That was for a long time. I don't know. It just came, and I thought, oh, please, Baba, one time I just want to do arti to your form. I mean, to you. And he came, it was a dream. He came into a dream, but it was a very vivid dream, very beautiful. And in this dream, he called me to do arti to him. And it was after that I didn't have this desire, and it was really fulfilled. So and yeah, I had many. I mean, he came in my dreams, and they were always like special. Special is a funny word, but special dreams. It was different from other dreams, and there was always some guidance, always.
Babaji said, "You don't dream of me. I come to you in your dreams."
Oh, he did say that.
Yes, so
Yeah.
it's, they were not just dreams for sure. They
Right.
were his
Yes.
visit coming to you.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
And actually, I had a funny experience here because I like ice cream. I told you, I like ice cream too much. And yesterday, like it was so cute. And actually, a few days back, Kushal Singh was talking a little bit in the temple, and he said the Babaji will fulfill all the desires. And this little child was saying, "Oh, I want ice cream," and I thought, yeah, me too. And yesterday, Kailash was his name. Yeah? Yeah, and he came and to you actually, and Roti, and he said, "Do you want some ice cream?" And of course you didn't want, but I did. And really, these are little moments, but I get so happy because it's like the little presence of Babaji here. Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's just like Baba's would give you just a little piece of toffee or something like that, or just a look.
Yeah, and sometimes we think, oh, does he care about me at all? No? Does he see me a little bit at least? No? And then there is this little ice cream or whatever it is for everyone, and it's like, thank you, yes, you're here. So yeah.
And if we observe enough, he's always giving us.
Oh yes.
But sometimes we get a little clouded, and so he does a bigger one, like gives you an ice cream cone out of the blue after you wish to help you remember. Oh yeah, Baba's here all the time.
Yeah, and even
listening to my every word, every desire, everything.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, my whole life has changed. Obviously, I after 7 years, 7 years in India unexpectedly, and really his guidance is very strong. I think, yeah.
And why did you leave Chilianola?
I don't know. I left when Muniraji also left, but it was not because of this actually. No? I think it was just time to maybe also to move on. And actually, I knew always when my parents are not well, I'm gonna go back to Germany. But in between, actually, which I forgot yesterday to tell also, I went to Rishikesh. I was working in India also. I had to earn some money, and I became a tour guide in India for a German travel agency. So living in the ashram and being on tour once in a few weeks.
Living in the ashram and what?
And having these groups sometimes to earn some money. So I went to Rishikesh for 3 years, and then actually I went back from India because of my parents. They weren't well, and I always knew I have to be there when they need me. So that's how I came back. Germany, yeah.
And will you go back again, do you think? I
would love to. I really miss it. Even though a life in India, of course, is not the easiest life, but yeah, I miss it. Yeah, I'd love to go back. So, but I feel with Babaji, see this experience coming to India for me, it was like really in 3 weeks. It was like like a storm is coming and taking me, and so I know that anything can happen. So I try to stay open for whatever will be my place or whatever I have to do. Yes.
So do you have a last few words to share with the people who are listening to your beautiful story?
I don't know, maybe just how I just we can trust that. I think we can trust that Babaji is with us, that he's always guiding us. We don't have to worry or be afraid, and yeah, just go on with whatever happens.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm inspired. Thank you. Bhole Baba ki
Jai.
jai.